out sick for a few weeks, but I'm back now, so ready to go on with rounds 12 through 14 of our Star Wars Yoda. So let's get started. If you guys stopped where I did and have not continued on without me, you can see that we are now working in the brown, and we have quite a mess over here. So since we're working on the brown, I think we can go ahead and clip off our paper clip, because we don't really need the weight holding the green yarn out of our way. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and rid myself of these extra strings. I know which round I'm on because I am on the brown at this point. So starting with 12, round 12, and crocheting one time in each single crochet, we will do 18 stitches around 3 times. And I think this red will show up nicely on the brown yarn. So now that it's cleaned up a bit, I can go ahead and wrap my brown yarn for tension, shorten the loop that I have kept safe here for the last couple weeks so I wouldn't lose my stitching. And again, wrap that to hold my tension, and we're ready to begin. So we'll slip right into the first stitch, and we will single crochet that back, and that becomes stitch 1. And we're going to continue around to this starting point. If you are concerned that you'll lose your starting point or lose count of your stitches, you're going to come back to where this brown tail is, because that is the starting point of these 3 rounds. And when we come back and we've completed round 12, we'll go ahead and stitch that with a red thread. Remember, on this side we have our eyes, so we can just move right on. That was our second stitch, so here's 3. Again, I know it's a little difficult sometimes, and you might have to stop and rewrap. It's kind of hard to work inside this circle, and that is the struggle with making these little characters, is kind of watching where your stitching is and making sure that you kind of pull that out each time and go into the next stitch. See if I can pull it up to the camera a little bit closer. Once you get rolling on it though, it becomes a repetitive movement. Of going from one stitch to the next. And remember, our round will end when we get back to the start of that brown tail. Just kind of pull it out so that you can see. It's much harder to see the brown. I'm gonna put this white as a background, and maybe that will help set the stitching against a white background. Might help you see each stitch a bit better. You can see that sometimes I drop that stitch. It's not easy to hang on to. Here we are though, right around to the tail. So it didn't take us long to get there. One more stitch will be our 18. And we'll stop there and put our red thread through so we keep track. Remember, all you have to do is thread your needle to mark that stitch. I'm going to pull that loop out so I don't lose it and drop my needle out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and take a stitch and tie it off. Beginning now with round 13, we'll stitch right into there. It's our first stitch. Move on to the second. You'll find yourself rewrapping often with the tension, simply because it does take both hands to pull this out and make sure that you're going into the very next stitch each time. And again, I know it's more difficult possibly to see the brown than it was the lighter green, so be patient with yourself. Although it seems to take me longer when I'm taping this and showing you, once you get into the flow and you're simply crocheting in each stitch, each round will probably just take you a minute or two, because these 3 rounds are quite simple. So there we are, back to round 13. We'll go ahead and mark that and be right back with round 14. Since we're crocheting exactly the same on all 3 rounds, I'm going to change my camera angle on this last round. Please let me know in the comments section if this is a better angle for you. If not, then on our next few rounds I'll go back to the way I was filming. But I wanted to try this new angle and see if it worked for you. So please let me know in the comment sections. Again, we're simply crocheting around 18 single crochets in each previous crochet, and that will complete round 14. For those of you who may be crocheting looser than I am, this process of working within this circle may be a little easier. Sometimes I know you see me struggle to get my needle through. I do tend to crochet a little tighter, possibly than I should when I am doing a figure like this. If this is your first crochet project ever, I really want to applaud you for undertaking such a craft. This is not a simple project, and you guys are rock stars for trying it. If you find yourself short a stitch or two, when you're crocheting in the round like this, it's honestly not going to matter if you go ahead and put 2 crochets in one stitch to make sure that you have excuse me, 18 single crochets by the time you've completed your circle. On some projects this definitely would matter and you want to make sure your stitches are exact, but in something like this, it's not going to make a lot of difference. So if you have to do that to even up your stitching, by all means do so. You don't have to rip everything out and start again, because that can be so frustrating. Okay, we're almost around to our beginning stitches. And you can see that we've just continued to elongate Yoda's head because we're gonna, a couple more rounds and we'll be stuffing the head and moving on to another body part. So hang in there. There we go. Round 14 is completed. I'm gonna pull that out so I can take my needle out, and remember our green tail here is what we're going to weave back in, as well as our brown tail. You won't see those in our finished project. So here we go. We are getting down to Yoda's neck right here, and good job, everybody. Okay, that completes rounds 12 through 14 of our Star Wars Yoda. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.